Hey guys, how's it going, and welcome back for another Total War video with the Terminator. In this video, I'm gonna run through all the updates that have happened to your favorite medieval mod 1100 AD for Rome 2 Total War, because in the last 6 weeks, it's gotten new playable factions, new city locations, new units, and more, and it's all really well done. I hope you enjoyed this video, guys, and if you do, give it a like, drop any thoughts or questions in the comment section below. I'm happy to answer any of your comments, and subscribe for more Total War content, gameplay, and news just like this. So let's get right into it. If you go into the main menu here, you'll see an updated message which lets you know that 5 cities have been moved into their correct locations. So we've got Constantinople, Braga, Venice, Krakow, and Sis all in their correct locations now. This is something that has never been done in Rome 2 Total War. In fact, up until now, it was kind of assumed that you can't change city locations on the campaign map. So this is a first, and it is absolutely amazing, guys. To get it, all you have to do is search for 1100 AD in the Steam Workshop and find the Move Cities Fix 1100 AD submod, subscribe to it, and put it above your load order. Once you've done that, you'll see that in the campaign map, Constantinople is in its correct location on the west side of the Bosphorus, which is awesome. You'll also see that Venice is in its correct location as well. You'll see that Braga, even though the name is down here for some reason, Braga has been moved as well to its correct location. Krakow for the Kingdom of Poland, as well as Sis for the Cilician Principality. As I said, this is Starsmill pushing the boundaries of Rome 2 Total War, because never before has city model cities like this been moved on the campaign map. So it's an amazing thing, and I'm sure everybody will be happy with these changes. Next up, we've also had 6 new playable factions, guys. In the last 6 weeks, Starsmill's been working very hard to add 6 new playable factions, including the Almoravids, which are a Islamic faction in the western side of the map, controlling the western side of Africa and southern Spain, with some really cool enemies in the Catholic factions of the Kingdom of Castile and Leon and Portugal and others. We've got the Cilician Principality now playable, which is just awesome. They're a very cool faction with some really interesting enemies around them, very interesting starting position, very cool little roster as well, and allies in the kingdoms of Jerusalem and Byzantium, etc. So very cool campaign. We've got Bulgaria, which, even though it's not exactly historically accurate to this time period, Bulgaria was formed and made independent later on in history, it's still a very cool faction to play with. I highly recommend you check them out. We've got the County of Sicily, which again has a really nice starting position with the Catholic factions to your north and the Zirid Emirate to your south, and a really nice unit roster, guys, so definitely check this one out. We've got the Norse Expedition back in the campaign as a playable faction. If you remember, it was available about 6 months ago as well, but due to some balancing issues, some new units being added in, etc., Starsmill removed it to work on it, and now it's back, so it's a very cool faction to play with, guys. And finally, we have the nomadic Turkic faction with the Oghuz, a very cool little faction that's settled in the eastern side of the map of the Caucasus. You've got enemies in the Seljuks and Byzantium to your west, very cavalry heavy faction, so a lot of fun. Here's the Norse Expedition with their army, the Blood Embers, off the coast of Edinburgh, which is very cool. We've got the Almoravids down south in the south of Leon, Castile, and Portugal here, a very nice faction to check out. We've got the County of Sicily, which I just love, guys. Their unit rosters are absolutely brilliant. Unit cards are amazing. Roger the First as its king, just such a cool faction to play with. There's so many great playable factions now, and it's just such a joy to see Starsmill continue to work on this mod and make it the best it can be. But aside from all of these changes, all these playable factions, all the new city locations as well, with Braga and Venice and Constantinople, we've got some campaign changes and battle changes as well. So if you are, for example, the Crusader states here, Jerusalem or the Principality of Antioch, and you go and conquer Tripolis here, you can actually liberate it to create the Kingdom of Tripoli, or the County of Tripoli. This is a new kind of like Crusader state here, which you can support in your alliance. Have a nice time, I guess, kind of trading more and having a good kind of defensive stalwart against the Emirate of Damascus and other Islamic factions here which are trying to take you down essentially. But that is a very nice little emergent liberation faction here which you can do. Another big change is to technology and the way you build buildings. So if you go into the tech tree here, you'll see that the more technologies you unlock, the more access to buildings you have, like ports and mosques and roads and things like that. It's just a really nice change, which means that technology and researching is a lot more important to developing your faction from a building point of view. It's a very nice change here. We've also got a new faction on the campaign map. So if you go into the eastern side of Europe here, you'll find the Duchy of Bohemia, which is in the province of Bohemia and Moravia. But we also have the Duchy of Moravia, which is the new faction. They own the city of Brno. They start with this capital, and obviously they're going to start at war with the Duchy of Bohemia, but it's a very cool little faction here. Hopefully we'll get to play them in the future as well. Diplomacy has also been made a bit easier from a trade perspective. So if you go into your diplomacy tab here and you ask for trade agreements, you're going to have a bit of an easier time, even though it appears right now with this faction, I'm not having an easy time. But generally, with most factions, diplomacy with the AI is a bit easier to get trade agreements. So that's just something to keep in mind in the future when you're playing your campaigns. And finally, guys, we have some changes to battles. So first and foremost, archers have been reduced from a melee attack and defense point of view. So if you're attacking archers, for example, with your cavalry, they shouldn't really be able to fight back, which in my books is a good thing. Battle AI has also seen some improvements in the way they use cavalry. So they'll use cavalry more sparingly. They won't just go and attack straight away. They'll use a lot more flanking maneuvers against your army and hit your cavalry head on as well. All really nice stuff from a battle AI perspective. Another massive change for all cavalry units is that mass has been increased by 20%, and missile cavalry units charge has increased by 200 to 300%. That means that light and medium horses have been buffed a bit, which should be okay. I think that armored infantry will still be able to hold their own against them, but if they're going against things like archers have no chance anymore, which I think is a good thing. I mean, archers shouldn't have the ability to really defend themselves against medium or light cavalry anyway. Finally, the counties of Provence and Toulouse should have Frankish units now, and Italian factions should have 4 new units, which is all really good. Overall, I think you'll agree, guys, that all the changes made, all the updates made in the last 6 weeks make a lot of sense, and they're so well done. So kudos to Starsmill for making them happen. The new playable factions are so much fun. The new city locations are so impressive. All the new units, the battle balance changes, everything is so well done. So if you haven't played 1100 AD before, I highly recommend you go check it out. And if you haven't played 1100 AD in a while, I recommend you get back into it and check all this out because it's well worth it. Hope you enjoyed this video, guys, and if you did, give it a like and drop any thoughts or questions in the comment section below. Subscribe for more Total War content, gameplay, and news just like this, and thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.